Наступний я хотіла просто сьогодні. Давайте тоді без презентації.
Я тоді розкажу про курс, в принципі, що там було, і зашарю свій сертифікат.
Да, давайте. Угу.
Окей. Так, certificate. Okay, switch to English. So I decided to choose cybersecurity in manufacturing as a course. Well, I just found that it might be interesting, and also for my next semester, I chose cybersecurity as one of the courses to take. And I decided that it would be nice to have something like a background before entering this course. So I started this one. It included 4 weeks training with different topics to cover. So the first week was about digital manufacturing security. The second week was about securing digital manufacturing operations. Then protecting intellectual property, which was kind of like the most, like the biggest topic to cover because it included a lot of parts. And then breach response. What happens if, for example, like intellectual property got stolen? What happened if attacks happened, and so on. So there's each week has 5 topics in it, and then a test at the end. By the end of every week, I took a small test check, and then a big week test. Okay, what else?
Yeah. Sonia, could you tell me, please, briefly about protecting intellectual property?
About protecting intellectual
property, yeah.
So I would first say why we need to protect intellectual property, as that's what the course covered. So it's kind of like a new work, and intellectual property can be found like everywhere. So it like in healthcare, in manufacturing, when we like create different applications, it's still intellectual property, and like whole area of technology includes intellectual property. Also, we need to protect it because this is a new investment, and it should not be stolen because it's like an artwork, like something which like a person creates, and each like other person should not steal it. And what we covered in course is how this intellectual property could be stolen, and it included covering transmitting different information through their network, and how we should protect this network, like network connection, so the hackers could not hack, like steal information during that transmission of this information from one from the sender to the recipient.
Так, добре. Думаю, досить. Соня, надішліть, будь ласка, свій сертифікат мені в Телеграм, про всяк випадок. Так, і все, тоді з вами вирішили питання. Переходимо до наступного студента. Хто буде наступний? Нікіта? Добре. Так, одну хвилиночку. Курс я закриваю курсом другий семестр, додаю до нього бали з першого семестру і потім виставляю як залік. Наскільки я пам'ятаю, там всіх нормальні бали за перший семестр, але перш ніж буду виставляти в заліки в кампусі, я вам скину бали, подивитися. Добре? Мгм. 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 Ага. М. Мгм. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's all. Okay, thank you. Good job. Так, Нікіта, є зараховано сертифікат. Надішліть мені, будь ласка, в Телеграм. Дякую за роботу. Так, підрахую бали, потім скажу. І да, гарного дня. Хто наступний у нас?
Можна я?
Можна. Угу. Кричати.
Угу. Так, видно?
Угу.
So, I completed the course which is called AWS Educate Introduction to Cloud 101. This is a course about basic services in AWS. AWS is Amazon Web Services. It's a cloud provider which has many different services in all of the spectrums. So this course covered the basic services such as storage. It covered the service which is called S3, Simple Storage Service. It's like a Google Drive, but with more functions and the parameters that you can tailor to yourself. Also, it covered the compute side, mainly EC2. It's Elastic Compute Cloud. This is basically a service to launch instances in cloud, which are like virtual machines. So practically computers that run 24/7, which you can install the programs that you need to run and manage them from your home. Do not have to manage physical servers, which take up a lot of space. Also, the benefit of the whole cloud is that most of the things are much cheaper there because the AWS takes advantage of economies of scale. They buy up huge amounts of compute, of the storage, and so on. So they get a big discount on it and pass it to consumers. Also, it covered the network side, the VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. It's like a part of the whole cloud, which is just for you. So there are no other people interrupting your connection and intercepting your data. And also security groups, which are like rules which traffic can go in and go out to your instances. And also it had a bit a section about databases, which are the service to store your data, for example, logins and passwords of your customers, so they can access their account or profile on your website. Yeah, so that's it.
Добре, Артем, записала. Прийнято. А скажіть, будь ласка, там у нас на курс було більше людей. Не знаєте, чого так мало на зараз в зоні?
Не знаю, може хтось там справив когось якийсь, або хтось не може. Треба буде запитати.
Добре, так. Дякую. Далі продовжуємо.
Давайте я спробую. Там людина хоче зайти, все бачу.
Так, я впустила,
Так, зараз демонстрацію. Okay. I have completed the course called Agile with Station Jira. This course is about how to work properly in teams to perform tasks effectively. Agile is an iterative approach to project management and software development that helps teams deliver value to their customers faster and with fewer headaches. At the beginning of the course, we are given an idea of agile mindset. It introduces Station Jira as a tool used to implement agile principles for team project work. Here we work with Kanban Agile. This is a board that records the type of project, the goal, and the priorities of the tasks. Also in Kanban board, you can see which tasks are in progress and what is waiting to be done. Next, we studied the Scrum technology. Scrum is a project management approach for flexible software development. First, a fixed set of tasks is determined, and then the sprint begins. A sprint is a period of time when developers perform tasks that don't change or add new ones. After the sprint, developers report what has been done, how, and if necessary, make a new sprint. This is done until the product is ready. Finally, I have learned about JQL, Jira Query Language. It's a flexible tool that allows to search for issues in Jira and pinpoint exactly what are you looking for. If you know how to search for the things you want in Jira, you can save many hours of work. In conclusion, I can say that the course was interesting, had a lot of new information, and now I know a little more about Agile than nothing.
Thank you. Так, добре, Даня. Зараховано. Далі. Надійшли сертифікат.
Добре, дякую.
Так. Хто наступний?
Давайте я.
Арсеній, давайте.
Так. Экран. Data science with Python. Introduction. Data science is all about finding and exploring data in the real world and using that knowledge to solve business problems. There are some examples of data science. The first example is customer prediction. A system can be trained based on customer behavior patterns to predict the likelihood of a customer buying a product. The second example is service planning. The restaurants can predict how many customers will visit on the weekend and plan their food inventory to handle the demand. Python libraries for data analysis. There are three, the most common libraries for data analysis. The first is SciPy. SciPy provides scientific capability like linear algebra. The second is NumPy, a powerful library that helps you create an n-dimensional arrays. And the third is the main library is Pandas. Pandas is used for structured data operations and manipulations. Also, Pandas is the most useful data analysis library in Python and used extensively for data matching and preparation. Example of assignment. On these pictures, we can see a lot of data like team name, city of the name, and others. Using libraries that I have mentioned before, I manipulated with this information and returned the sorted data frame. I bear in mind a big table, which contains all information about each team from the biggest win-loss ratio to the smallest. And the assignment. My assignment in my assignment, I should read a wiki file in the left picture to find out about each metropolitan region. And there are 4 files. Each file belongs to Big 4: MLB, NFL, NHL, and NBA. For each sport, I have to figure out which team has the biggest correlation between population and team's win-loss ratio of the city. As a result, we can see on this picture that Team Rockets from the Houston has the biggest correlation between population and team's win-loss ratio of the city. What I have learned, all in all, I understand techniques such as lambdas and lambdas, and manipulating CSV files like Excel, query data frame structures for cleaning and processing, describe common Python functionality and features used for data science. And the last, explain distributions, sampling, and t-tests. Thank you for attention. That's all.
Арсеній, thank you. Так, є. Як у вас взагалі справи? Всіх все добре? Я надіюсь. Всі в Україні?
Не всі в Україні.
Да? А хто у нас за кордоном?
Ну, я в Україні, а хтось, я знаю, що за кордоном.
Багато з наших з групи за кордоном?
Ну, декілька людей є.
Декілька. Добре. Так. Ну що, переходимо далі. То у нас наступний Арсеній зараховано, відмітила собі. Так.
Дякую.
Угу.
Я можу бути наступним, в принципі.
Давайте, да, Ігор, включайтесь. Скільки там у нас залишилось до перезавантаження, бачите?
Та наче поки не пише.
Поки не пише, чудово. Так, тоді продовжуємо. Єгор, підключайтесь.
Так. Зараз. So, at the beginning of this term, I have started my internship in Valtech Academy, and there we have a lot of courses on English. And today I will tell you about, I suppose, my favorite is this complete regular expressions course with exercise. So the structure of this course is pretty simple. The instructor named Joseph begins with what is regular expressions and why we use them. And all in all, regular expression is a pattern and we use it to phrase and check the given input text for matching. Basically, in C#, regular expressions are generally like termed as regex. So after that, he tells us about some information about engines of regular expressions, and after that, the main section begins where he tells us about syntax of it. So for understanding is pretty hard stuff because for example, for matching the email, we need to write a pretty decent regular expression, but as Joseph told in this course, that we can basically use what people wrote before and just try to extend it for our issues. So also he tells us, he shows us some projects connected with regular expressions. For example, he shown how to match URLs, IP addresses, dates, times, and so on. And also I remembered that as for me, the hardest was about zip code, because the regular expression was pretty large for understanding, and I think it's pretty useful in several cases, and it's great that I saw this course because before it I had no idea that it uses in a lot of ways.
But Igor, as I see, you had to pay for this course, yeah? $12.
What?
You had to pay for this course.
No, these courses are included in my business Udemy account, so I don't need to pay it. And I suppose I can share you with my LinkedIn profile
but it
with
wasn't,
all my courses.
But this course isn't free for Ukrainians, yes?
What?
Am I right? This course isn't free for Ukrainians.
No, it's not free. It's not free.
Unfortunately for you.
So also I have finished a lot of courses. For example, I opened the biggest, so a course about algorithm and data structures. Basically, it's one of the hardest courses because it has a big amount of new information for me and how data structures in C# works like inside the language. Also, the course about entity framework, it's basically one of it's base course for .NET developers, because Entity Framework is used in a lot of like projects and in a lot of ways, and it's one of the fundamentals. Also, I think it was the first course that I finished. It was just basic review of
C#.
Yes, of C# and in some way it was pretty easy for me, but the last chapters was kind of hard when Dennis Panyuta, his instructor, he told us about delegates. It's kind of hard. It's pretty hard theme. So, but it was interesting. And I think that's it. I will share with you with all these courses, with all the certificates, and
Okay.
so.
Thank you. Thank you. Єгор. Так. Хорошо. Підмітила. Далі. Дякую. Хто наступний?
Давайте я буду.
Давайте.
Okay. As Igor said, he started. He started this year with an internship, but I have started this year as well, the same. And I had an internship in Valtech IT company. So, and as a part of an internship, it was learning some courses. As you can see, there are 12 certificates, but I want to focus on one of them. It's about C# masterclass. It's more than just about C# basics. So, of course, I've got some knowledge about C# programming language. But why I want to tell about this course for others? This course includes as well some topics about Windows Presentation Foundation, about databases, about Link, about Unity. So what is this stuff? If you want or if you are interested in learning the .NET direction, or you want to get something new for yourself, or you are not still sure that you want to learn C# or something else, so you can try this course. If I don't mistake, it costs about $85, but nowadays, as Igor shows, 85. But as Igor showed, and if I don't mistake, it costs $30 nowadays. I want to say that it's pretty expensive for students, but amount of information in this course is relevant to this price. You can get basic knowledge about using databases. It's careful for you to using this stuff in web development, in desktop development, and other spheres that connected with C#. You can get some knowledge about Unity. It's game development, and for people who are not ready or who are I would say who are not ready, it's good to try because you will get basic knowledge about the sphere. It will be enough to have an interview for junior position. and I want to say that this course as well includes some practical tasks. And in description, we can find that it takes about 37 hours to complete. But in real life, it takes a bit more because you spend time for practical tasks, you spend time for understanding some topics, and this course is flexible. So information is coming, and you can find something new in some time, even you complete this course. So I think that's all. Thank you for
Вітя.
invitation.
Thank you. Скажіть мені, будь ласка, як там ви казали, якщо я не помиляюся?
If I didn't mistake.
If I'm not mistaken. І ще хотіла додати, що knowledge, воно використовується як для множини, так і для однини. Не knowledges, да? Це некоректна форма. Knowledge – це і знання в множині, і просто тільки knowledge не використовується. Дякую. Так, все, зарахувала, записала, і чекайте тоді остаточні бали від мене в Телеграмі. Пізніше, не сьогодні. Так, хто наступний у нас на черзі? Давайте, мабуть, перезавантажимось, бо залишилось менше 10 хвилин і продовжимо, добре? Так, перезавантажуємось. Так, я повернулася, можемо продовжувати. Хто у нас наступний буде, Оксана чи Маріна? Маріна? Давайте.
Мене, напевно, не чути.
Тільки вас дуже погано чути.
Да, прям дуже погано?
Зараз чудово.
Добре, зараз. Так, видно?
Хвилиночку, да, видно.
A certificate on a Coursera course on learning artificial intelligence. This course was divided into 4 weeks. The first week, it was introduction to AI, what is the purposes of studying AI, and what AI can actually do. Second week was about basic terms of AI, like data science, like big data, and other terms that are commonly used in AI. Next week, third week, it was more interesting because it had a lot of case studies about different cases where we can use artificial intelligence, like speech recognition, for example, like making the, how to say that? When the car is driving, you know, there are used also artificial intelligence, like Tesla cars. They have. And the last week was about what other things that AI can do and things that AI can do, because many people suppose that AI can do literally everything in this world. But the thing is that you have to learn AI to do that, and it's quite complicated. So yeah, that's the main thing about this course that I learned.
Okay, tell me please, could you list the drawbacks of AI that you noticed during the course?
Could I do what?
Could you please list the drawbacks of AI that you noticed during the course? Minuses of AI, drawbacks.
Minuses of AI. Minuses of AI is that you have to have a huge amount of data. So you could actually teach AI to give correct answers. For example, basic things that AI does is deciding on the picture whether like this, X-ray picture, like if there's any tumor or not. And in the beginning, when you're teaching AI to do that, there will be a lot of mistakes and AI will give you wrong answers. So the teams that are studying AI, they work a lot on fixing these mistakes, and they require like huge amount of data of correct answers, incorrect answers to actually do it correctly. So it's like a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm. Did you pay for the course?
No, it was free course for Ukrainian people from
Nice.
like for our university.
Thank you. For KPI, окей.
Yeah.
Thank you, Марина. Так, зарахувала. Надішліть сертифікат в Телеграм тоді. Дякую. Наступний хто у нас? Оксана? Залишилась, так?
Зараз.
Так, Рон?
Видно?
Видно?
So I finished the same course as Nikita Chernikov, so I can tell you more about its components.
Let's go. Components, the second syllable.
Yeah, this course can be applied to multiple specializations. Completing this course will count towards your learning in any of the following programs: specialization with Angular or with React. I chose React, and at the beginning of the course, I thought that after its completion, I would continue my studies in this specialization. But as it turned out later, the course was developed in 2013. And now this material is not relevant. No, yeah. So my training in this specialization was limited to taking a course on Bootstrap. So in the first week, I was introduced to what a Bootstrap is, what the profession of a full stack developer is. I was taught the basics of Git and Node, and I was introduced to responsive design and Bootstrap grid system. After the lectures, I had my first homework task, creating an example site using Bootstrap. This task turned out to be very useful because here I also had to take into account the layout for mobile screen expansion. And after that task, I had optional task. In this task, I had to come up with my own project of the site and describe it in writing. What is its theme? What will the website look like? What functions will it implement for users? So I chose the theme of the site of the handmade products store. The second week began with the overview of navigation design and the importance of providing appropriate navigation support within your website. Next, I studied buttons and shapes, tables, cards, images, homework. The second homework was about laying of the site by example, only now with the elements that were studied during this week. The next optional task was to design the interface of the project you came up with and describe it in the report. There I have my report, Homemade Heaven, and was with this task was the situation. One of my classmates downloaded my work and uploaded my work for review. In the third week of study, I became acquainted with the Bootstrap JavaScript components, and my third homework was acquainted, yes. And my third homework was to add the Bootstrap JavaScript components to the site made in previous works by example. In lessons of the fourth week, I explored CSS preprocessors such as less and sass. I learned the salient features of both the processes and saw how we can generate CSS from the less and sass code. That's all.
Okay. So, how can you assess the course? Did you like it? What was the most useful for you from the course?
From the course, I think the most useful was to review our other classmates' works.
Get reviews from your group mates, yes?
Yes. And have some feedback from them.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Thank you, Оксана. Так, є. І ще раз, дякую, я відмітила. І ще раз проговорю, що фінальну оцінку я виставляю з 24 по 30 червня в кампус залікову. До цього часу я ще підрахую бали за перший, за другий семестр. За другий я всім виставляю, хто здав курс 50, додаю за перший семестр, і потім вам надсилаю фінальну оцінку в групу. Добре? В наш чат.
Добре.
Домовились? Добре, так. Все, тоді дякую всім. І спишемось.
До побачення.
До побачення. Бережіть себе, до побачення.